Emails I have gotten from parents, Part 1. Subject: concern about violent curriculum.
Don't do that to me. Hope he locked that door on me. I'm looking for... Oh, right here. Oh, God damn it. How about that? Now, why did it do that? What the flying fuck, dude? You gotta be kidding me. Can you go back, please? I quit?
You missed a big one. Bill Gates admitted to the affairs.
Wait, what?
Bill Gates admits? So Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has admitted that he had two...
It's time for Lefties Losing It, and it's deja vu all over again because we are again starting the segment with...
You missed a big one. Bill Gates admitted to the affairs.
Wait, what?
Bill Gates admits? So Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has admitted that he had 2 affairs with Russian women, only 2, while married to his ex-wife, has now issued a groveling apology. Gates told staffers at his foundation on Tuesday that he flew on a private plane. So I did see this yesterday. So Thomas Massey apparently just named the people in the files that were being redacted.
Congress created the Department of Justice. Congress funds the Department of Justice. And Congress is responsible for the oversight of the Department of Justice.
And you're in Congress.
When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations.
True, it's embarrassing. The UK is 2-0 on us.
In the Epstein files, over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things, much of it redacted. Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide.
Why would they do that?
But I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States from this Department of Justice.
Very interesting.
Prince Andrew, Duke of York, has been arrested. Peter Mandelson, he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway has been charged. But we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. Who are the men that should be investigated? I'll name them right here. Leon.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'll name them right here. Leon Black. You don't even have to see past the redactions.
Guy is worth $13 billion. Between 2012 and 2017, gave Epstein roughly $150 million. And this was way after his initial convictions. Most mails are redacted, but there is one where Epstein directly mentions him. While writing to Israel, former Prime Minister Ehud Barak.
To see that this man needs to be investigated. Jess Staley, accused of terrible things.
Jess Staley, former CEO of Barclays and JP Morgan executive. He was the executive primarily responsible for managing Epstein's accounts for years after the initial 2008 conviction. The two exchanged over 1,200 mails between them, some of these with extremely cryptic language. When the full extent of their ties surfaced, Staley was forced to resign, and JP Morgan agreed to pay $290 million to settle a lawsuit brought by Epstein's victims after the US bank ignored warning signs about its client during a 15-year relationship.
It's right there in the files. Why is he not being investigated? And Leslie Wexner.
Why the most powerful man, the richest man in Ohio, gave so much of his wealth to the largest modern sex trafficking ring in American history.
He would say, like, I'm providing financial advice to the founders of Google.
Wait a minute.
Financial advice to Jeff Bezos.
Why would you sign your friend Leslie to someone you did not consider to be a friend of yours?
I don't know.
It's a mystery.
Why did the FBI list him as a co-conspirator and then tell him that they had no questions for him? Well, the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the DOJ and the FBI to disclose to us their internal memos and emails about how they made those decisions, whether to prosecute or not prosecute. Yet they have not delivered those memos. And we still don't have the memos and documents and emails from 2008 to explain why Jeffrey Epstein was given such a light sentence in what would have been an open and shut case.
20 years.
This stunning, never-before-seen prosecution memo and draft indictment detailing the disturbing evidence they gathered against the financier. But that 60-count indictment never filed. Instead, Epstein landing the now infamous deal allowing him to plead guilty to lesser state prostitution charges.
Which allowed him to go back and recommit these terrible crimes.
Exactly.
Hundreds
over
of more
10 years
victims.
after that.
We need justice. We want the Department of Justice to get to work, and that's what they need to do now. To let
I think what he should do next, if you think these guys need to be investigated, you need to create documentation. Like, it sounds stupid, but I think you really should do this. Create a infographic that explain why each of these individuals needs to be investigated, and then the different connections with everything, right? Like that meme of like the guy that's pointing on the fucking thing with like all the different connections. You need to get like your staffers, or, you know, like get somebody out there who's going to be able to put that together. Yeah, like honestly, just like hit up CoffeeZilla, probably do it for free. Fuck, I mean, it probably already halfway is done anyway.
Domino's best deal ever gets you any pizza with any toppings for just $9.99.
There was before you. I never thought there'd be life after you. But there was.
Reminders of him.
Really? Piece of trash.
The phenomenon could involve some type of activity that some might say constitutes a different form of life.
This would be one of the most closely held secrets in the entire...
You missed a big one. Bill Gates admitted to the affairs. Wait, what? Bill Gates admits? So Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has admitted that he had 2 affairs with Russian women, only 2, while married to his ex-wife, has now issued a groveling apology. Gates told staffers at his foundation on Tuesday that he flew on a private plane with the disgraced financier and spent time with him in the U.S. and abroad, but didn't participate in any crime. I did nothing illicit. I saw nothing illicit, Gates said at the town hall meeting. To be clear, I never spent any time with the victims, the women around him. He met Epstein in 2011, which was after the financier's Florida conviction for procuring a child for Definitely not a guy I'd want to be friends with after that. I did have affairs. Okay, this is it. I did have affairs with one Russian bridge player and with one Russian nuclear physicist who I met through business activities. Epstein previously threatened Gates over the affair.
To add insult to the injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your penis.
This is the chick they did it with, and was previously reported by the outlet. So if he admits that he had an affair with 2 Russian women, how many Russian women did he really have an affair with? Because, like, if at first he said he didn't know the guy at all, and then it turns out that they were friends, 3 weeks ago he denied everything.
I went to the island, I never met any women, and so, you know, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that, although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior. Might as well.
Bill Gates admits he had 2 affairs with Russian women.
It had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
That's crazy. What do you think the odds of that are?
Apparently, Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email was...
He's writing emails to himself. Listen, he was never... I don't even... Wait, Jeffrey who?
The emails in the file suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection, and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. You know, I've left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
Is it Jerry?
You know, faults. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, you know, every minute I spent with him,
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want.
JD Vance is live talking about the addressing of waste, fraud, and abuse. Is he really? Let me see. I don't know if this is worth looking at or not. What is this?
Claim to be autistic in order that they benefit from the money that's out there. Now, what does that mean? Number one, it means that a lot of people are getting rich off the generosity of American taxpayers, but more fundamentally and more importantly than that, it means that there are kids in Minnesota who deserve these services, who need these services, and they're not going to those kids. They're
Exactly.
going to fraudsters
The
in
opportunity
Minneapolis.
cost.
That
He's
is
right.
unacceptable, and that's the sort of thing that we're cutting off with this action today.
Holy
Let
shit.
me make one final point about the spirit of this. You know, one of the things I love about our country is that we're a generous country. We're a generous people. We take care of our fellow citizens who can't afford medical care because they're down on their luck. We take care of people who can't afford to put food on the table even though they work hard and play by the rules.
Space.
We recognize that we're all in this together, and part of the reason why we have Medicaid, or part of the reason why we have food stamps,
Please
part
make
of the
the
reason
distinction.
why we have these programs
do it.
is we want to make sure that kids who grow up in families not all that
Yes.
different from the family that
Exactly.
I grew up in, that they have access to the basic
Exactly.
necessities.
Yes.
Food, medical care,
You
after
can't
school
do that with
services
scammers.
when their family needs them but they're unable to pay.
You can't do it with
What's
unfettered
happening
immigration.
in Minneapolis, in California, in a number of states all across our country is that the generosity and the good hearts of our fellow Americans are being taken advantage of. We're taking that social contract that says that our American citizens, we take care of one another,
Yes.
and we're allowing a few bad actors to get rich off that generosity of spirit instead of providing the services to the kids who need it.
That's
This
right.
is
Totally right.
disgraceful. It has happened for too long. Far too many people have gotten rich by taking what is the best of the American spirit and getting rich off of it instead of providing services to kids who need it. That is stopping today. We're taking a whole of government approach in the Trump administration to take this fraud seriously. What Mehmet Oz and his team at CMS have done is really remarkable, and it's just the first step of our efforts. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Mehmet to say a few words about what he's doing, what his team has uncovered,
shut it down.
and what they're accomplishing with this new action.
Thank fucking God.
Mr. Vice President, I appreciate the leadership on this. There's no question that his commitment, the Vice President's commitment to rooting out this fraud is going to make a massive difference in preserving and protecting our nation's public health programs. It's going to protect patients. I want to thank President Trump for pushing all of us to make sure we protect our most vulnerable Americans, the ones that JD mentioned, the ones he grew up with, the ones all of us do in our lives. It also protects taxpayers from attacks on our healthcare system. Secretary Kennedy has spearheaded these efforts, and thanks to his leadership, I'm proud to announce the largest fraud initiative, anti-fraud effort of its kind in CMS history. Now, why is this action necessary? Last night, the State Executive address, the President spoke about the affordability issues that we have improved dramatically in this administration. Let's look at the numbers on healthcare. The average family puts about $27,000 into healthcare a year. They only pay $7,000 themselves, which is a lot, but there's an extra $20,000 invested for them. This is not a reasonable amount of money to spend. We have got to bend that curve downwards. It's unpredictable as well. We have to make these expenses, and the fraud that we're experiencing in America is making this already dangerous problem much worse. We're going to fix these issues. The President last night spoke about the need for price transparency. That's going to help by making people more aware of what you're paying. It's also going to help us at CMS figure out what you should be paying and identifying fraud. To that note, the President announced last night that he's appointing our Vice President to lead the war on healthcare fraud. A wise choice. Your passion for this will make a huge difference. This is not about the money by itself. This is about people's lives and our culture, our shared values that have allowed these beautiful programs, Medicare, Medicaid, to survive brilliantly for 60 years. We believe you can't have the third world savage spending $300 billion a year in healthcare in this country for fraudulent, abusive, or wasteful purposes. $250 billion. Let's put that in perspective. If we could reduce fraud by 5%, which is at $300 billion, we would take the trust fund that's going to take care of all of us as we get older, and we would allow it not to expire in 5 to 6 years. We would double its life expectancy. That's massively important if you're going to trust the social safety net to be.
Will you go straight to jail the moment you use your gun in self-defense? Many gun owners think they've got self-defense 100% figured out. Unfortunately, most people watching this video will go to bed without knowing the 3 decisions that truly determine the outcome of a violent encounter. Not knowing decision number 3 can even send you to jail. Don't load your gun again until you watch this free, unbiased training video.
Yes, sir. I'll check that. Back up in this thing, man.
and today we'll be diving into some mysterious videos that'll probably keep you up tonight. But before we hop into that, go ahead and spam that like button right now so we can run the numbers up on the algorithm. And you ain't gotta think about it later. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that sub button too. Sub up. Join the family. This is the most lit and active community on YouTube, period. With that being said, guys, let's hop straight into the video. Elephant in the room is the crescent being at the bottom of the moon all of a sudden. For my entire life, the crescents have always been on the side, so unless we had a 90-degree pole shift, we need answers, because the moon should never look like the Amazon logo.
There's another good synchronicity that somebody told me about, which kind of blew my mind, was this record that was released in July 2001 by a group called, you're not going to believe this, I Am the World Trade Center. There's a group called I Am the World Trade Center, and on an album which was called Out of the Loop, you can see, go down the track list on Discogs, if you look at the 11th track on the CD, it's called September. Right there you've got the name of the place and you've got the date, all encoded on the album, which was released in July 2001.
There's just no limit to my fascination with those syncs between pop culture and real world events.
They don't even hide the truth in plain sight anymore. They just straight up telling us that band name alone says everything.
A strange humanoid figure dug up during renovation work in what used to be a church graveyard. According to the OP, the discovery was made on their parents' property, a converted church now undergoing renovation. Workers uncovered the unsettling figure buried in the ground near the yard. Its appearance immediately sparked debate across Reddit. Some suggested it could be an old folk art effigy, perhaps made by someone centuries ago as part of a ritual or warding charm meant to protect the church grounds. Others believe it could be a mummified figure or a relic created during one of the many reconstructions the site has undergone over the years.
They probably shouldn't be holding it if they don't know what it is, because for all they know, it could be a 14th century voodoo doll, and they're out here playing with it like it's a G.I. Joe.
Holy guys, we have just got the first images of not Prince Andrew after he was released from police custody, being questioned for about 12 hours straight. And what the did they tell him in there? Because brother looks shook to his core. I genuinely thought that this was AI when I first saw this image, but no, it is completely real. And to make matters even crazier, they arrested him on his 66th birthday, and he has now become the first British royal to be arrested by police in nearly 400 years. We are living through history every day this year. Now, he remains under investigation for his ties with Jeffrey Epstein, so when we have an update on what happens to him next, I'll let you guys know.
If he looks like this after questioning, then he's not gonna make it a day in jail. That's the look of a person who just realized he's about to go from eating champagne and caviar every day to bologna sandwiches and chocolate milk. I can clearly make out 4 legs and a tail, so it could be like a mountain lion or a wolf or something like that, but the body looks extremely humanoid, so it might be a Texas Stillwalker.
I got a crazy conspiracy for you, TikTok, but keep in mind this is just for entertainment purposes. I don't know what the I'm talking about. So I'm pretty sure that there is a portal of hell behind the H in the Hollywood sign. So I'm going down the Epstein Files rabbit hole, and I keep coming back to the satanic pool. And then I remembered that Dr. Evil's lair was behind the Hollywood sign. And then it clicked to me that in Percy Jackson, that little portal to hell was behind the H in the Hollywood sign. And then I remembered Wizards of Waverly Place. And in the episode called Dancing with the Angels, funny enough, the portal to this little hell world was behind the H in the Hollywood sign. And what's crazy is that in each one of these movies and TV shows, behind the Hollywood sign is somebody evil. But this guy right here hijacked the moral compass so that he can influence everybody anybody in the world to make bad decisions. And ain't that just like Hollywood? Don't they sit there and brainwash us through the movies, music, and TV shows to get us to do whatever they want us to? And then in Percy Jackson, they literally went to hell. They literally went to Hades through the portal in the Hollywood side. And then what's really crazy is when you factor in that some 200 angels were cast out of heaven, and that Los Angeles means the city of angels. You picking up what I'm putting down?
I believe the mainstream media reveals secrets like this in movies and TVs and commercials, etc. So they might be trying to tell us something. There could be two portals to hell in LA, one behind the Hollywood sign and one in Diddy's basement.
But you have Don Pettit. He was showing off drinking out of a bag. And I thought, man, it does kind of look like he's drinking liquid out of a plastic bag. But as they're leaving, you see the bag floating away and the coffee just shoots out of it. Teleports outside the plastic. The plastic is still there. And lots of people, including me, were sharing this, and everyone was saying, it's a signal loss, man. Can't you just understand that when signal is lost, it's traveling from space, objects can teleport like that? And I'm like, you know what? I would try to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I know that anytime I've ever seen signal loss, I have never seen something teleport like that. That would be equivalent to someone driving down the road and you're recording them, sending a signal somewhere. Let's say you're using Zoom or Skype or whatever, or Messenger. You lose signal. The person is not going to then shoot out of their car and disappear from inside the car while the car stays there and their body is completely outside. That is what we're seeing with this NASA fail. And they're not the only ones that have these types of blunders, but they had them quite often. Now they're getting better. Of course, technology is improving, and they've had years and years to practice this.
It very well could just be signal loss, but in